Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Top It Up podcast. If you're new here, hello, and if you're not new here, welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about MLK and celebrating him and carrying the dream forward. I'm here. I'm Jasmine, and this is
Elijah.
and yes, we are your hosts today. If you don't follow us already, follow us on Instagram and every social media at the.chopitupod. All right. Not like don't say, oh, what's your tag? I told y'all. So I'm gonna go on into the first question, which is who was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and why is he considered such an important figure in American history? I have an answer and I'm gonna give y'all a little background info about Dr. King if you're not too familiar with him. Which I hope you are. So, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., often called the father of true democracy, was a transformative leader who brought America closer to its founding ideals of liberty and justice for all. Born into a deeply religious family, Dr. King's upbringing, shaped by his father, Daddy King, and mother Alberta Williams King, laid the foundation for his unshakable faith. His theological studies at Crozer Theological Seminary and Boston University, aka BU, where he lived and honed his commitment to nonviolence and social justice, deeply influenced his worldview. Throughout his extraordinary life, he faced near death experience, including a stabbing in 1958, and found strength in pivotal moments, such as his kitchen table epiphany during the Montgomery bus boycott. A champion of civil rights, he led the nation toward landmark achievements, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and thereafter the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and the Fair Housing Act of 1968, which was enacted just 2 days after he was sadly killed. That was during the Holy Week uprising. As the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner at the time, the only non president with a federal holiday in his honor. Dr. King's legacy endures an inspiring generation to fight for equality, immigrant rights, and justice for all in marginalized communities. So that was a little blurb of Dr. King. I really hope y'all know who he was, because yeah. So that brings us into the next one. What does Dr. Martin Luther King mean to us and to y'all in the comments, whoever's watching? To me, he's just someone like very inspirational. I remember, I don't know if y'all know Brain Pop, but it's like this little robot and this like human, and they would like tell information and facts about like different historical people or different moments in history. And like I would just always watch that, like the one about Martin Luther King. And my mom and my dad just kind of, told me about him at a young age. So he means a lot to me, and he just kind of just knowing who he was kind of put in my head like, we are different, but I should want equality. I should want justice, and yeah, helps me. He really helps me be like, I don't know. He inspires me. I try to be peaceful with everything I do.
What does he mean to me? The first time that I ever had heard him, I had this Asian teacher. She was very diverse
Mm,
and she was going into a lot of information on, what he did. We had like literally 2 weeks of talking about him, and I thought he was like basically Superman, that he had like the power to compel everyone to not be racist. So I was like, oh, that's Superman. So that's what he means to me.
I love that. No, because he is Superman. What?
Right.
He changed the world. I love that. That's such a cute way to view it. Um, so we're gonna move on to the next question, and I'm gonna pass that on to Eliza.
If you could ask Dr. Luther King about his work and or his life, what would it be?
Mm,
Hmm,
I don't know. Eliza,
this is a good
you
question. Um, to be honest, I think it will be because I did come across to this TikTok,
mhm,
um, that it seemed like he was not supposed to give that speech, that I have a dream speech,
right.
and it looks like it was just like something that he was not supposed to say yet. I
Hmm.
don't know. I think it would be that. What about you, Jasmine?
Um, I mean, there's so many questions. We can't start picking one. I would say, is there any, were there moments where you wanted to be violent, or were there moments where you wanted to give up?
Right.
Like, how did you overcome that, and like, what made you change your mind? I mean, of course, we had like a lot of things that be like, I can't, man, I can't get this up. They treat us like, but it's like, what kept him really going? Because I know there's times where, just being beat on and just being spit at and like nasty comments and just being in life threatening things,
Right.
you would want to quit. Like, he was stabbed before he was killed. He was stabbed, and that was already like, you could die from that. So I want to know, like, how did he feel when that happened? Did he want to give up? Is he like, dang, is it really worth it? But that would
Right.
be a question I would want to ask him. Y'all in the comments, whoever's watching, or when we post this on Instagram, put it in the comments.
For real.
But yeah. So what's the next question, Elisha?
Ready. How do you think Martin Luther King "I Have a Dream" speech is still relevant to today, to people today? Um, I feel like some people are holding up to it. I feel like it's still relevant because other people also have a dream, and I see other people trying their best, and I could still see like a lot of change from that speech happening, like protests. There's a lot of protests happening in the world, and a lot of more communication, mostly because of TikTok as well.
Yeah.
What about you, Jasmine?
Um, I think it's relevant today because I remember just this one part of his speech, and he's saying like, "Oh, he had a dream that little black girls, and little black boys were playing with little white boys and little white girls, and
Right,
like everyone was coming together." So I think that's relevant because we're mixed. We're obviously more diverse now. We're able to come together. I mean, not everyone wants to come together, but there are majority of the people that do want to come together, and we're taking the time to learn each other and learn what's right, and what's wrong is wrong. And I think people are just learning that. I mean, even today with the inauguration, people are still kind of like remembering his dream and remembering his legacy. I mean, rightfully so on his day. So yeah, I think that's how it's relevant. And it's like we're kind of we're kind of living the dream right now that he wanted to have. So
right.
that's how it's relevant. And that kind of leads us in to the next question. And do you think Martin Luther King is portrayed in? Do we think Martin Luther King is portrayed incorrectly in schools or around the world? Mm,
Hmm.
I don't think like I don't know like I don't think he is. I just feel like they kind of keep it short because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know he got stabbed until I did my own research. And I
Yeah,
think
I
I put it
didn't,
on Instagram.
right. I didn't even know that he got stabbed for real. I most of these teachers, all they do is basically give us an essay on him, and then they go ahead and put like a video or like a movie about him, and they call it a day.
Exactly. And I don't think it's I don't think it's like portrayed incorrectly, but I do think yeah, they just keep it really short. They're just like, he fought for rights and he fought for this and yeah, that's really it. And I do think I don't know how to describe it. Not like he should be celebrated, but they just like throw MLK. Sometimes like teachers they'll just use MLK and then not talk about the other activists as well. And
Right,
the fact that you just have to do more research and there's a lot of things that they could have taught me in the classroom that they didn't, and I don't know why because it was really relevant. But I'm happy that they're teaching his history in the classroom because back then when he was younger, they did not teach anything about Black history. So I'm to really like answer the question. I don't think he's being portrayed incorrectly. I just don't think they're just kind of like telling enough. And if they talk about him, they kind of recycle the same thing over and over again. Yeah, that's my take. Um,
I will be taking this one. How can social media be used to further promote Dr. Luther King's work in today's digital age? Um, this is ooh. Do you have anything, Jasmine?
I do. I mean, I feel like it's already been used to promote Dr. King's work. I mean, look
Right.
at TikTok. You know, with the whole TikTok ban, people are like, "Oh, don't do this. Don't be bamboozled. This is
Mm-hmm.
going on." And even today, with like being that it's MLK Day, like everyone still posts MLK, like they
Yes.
post a quote. Um, they show love. We all work. There's people that still show love every day. They talk about him. Like I've seen a lot of posts about him on TikTok and
Right.
videos.
Yeah, for me, I see people, posting him on Instagram on their stories. I seen a couple of TikTok jokes where people say like, "Oh, praise him," or like say thank you to him because there's no school like today or something.
Yeah,
And then and then what I've been seeing recently is a lot of people going like, wow, they're basically kind of like hating on Donald Trump because he brought like a lot of black people together today because he was like, we call it, he's like today he's officially the president,
yeah,
and he did like a little party, and he brought a lot of black singers or rappers together to sing or do whatever for his day.
yeah. So his work is being promoted, and people are just always kind of like remembering what he did and remember how he kind of went with the nonviolence approach and just lived in his faith and lived in his truth, and kind of left it all up to God. And I love that about him.
Right.
So for the next question, y'all in the comments, let us know your thoughts and opinions.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
Dr. Martin Luther, well, MLK, be proud of the progress we made in society today.
um I feel like a lot of diversity in New York and Boston. I don't know where else, but I feel like Boston is very like diverse. Like I've been seeing a lot of, Hispanics, like a lot of Hispanics. I've been seeing blacks. I've been seeing Asians. I see a lot of diverse people here. That's
Um,
my experience.
yeah, like I think we're more diverse. We're not as segregated anymore, and I think that's a lot of progress. I think we came a long way. I mean, you got to think about it. And back in his time, there was still like only white only restaurants, white only this, that, and the third. We're
Right.
past that. We're able to get a job. We're able to do this. We're able to, speak up for ourselves. There were times like if we said the wrong thing. I mean, there are times now where if we say the wrong thing, we're getting hurt, put in jail, or even worse. But now we have more freedom, and we're able to do more, and we're able to put our foot down and just do what he was not able to do all the time. And I think we made a lot of progress, but there's also a lot more to be made, because like you were mentioning how there's diversity here. And like Boston's a very liberal place. Like we're really lucky to live here, because I'm from Georgia. So when I go back down to Georgia to visit my dad, and when I go back down there to go to college and live there, it's not like that. They have their Confederate flags flying around. They'll let you know that they don't really mess with the black people like that. And they'll do that straight to your face. And they don't care. There's still people, like, you gotta think, MLK wasn't, when he was alive. That wasn't too long ago. There are people his age still kicking, still alive. They taught their ignorant ideas to their children, and then their children taught it to their children, and so on and so forth. So that's still being recycled. There's still those people down there, white power, all that. Like they do not care. So we made a lot of progress, but there's a lot more to be made, and we just gotta break the cycle. And eventually, I think we will.
Of course. This next question. How do you think Dr. King if fate influenced his work and leadership? Do you think religion beliefs still play a role in activism today? Um, let's see. I don't know. What about you, Jasmine?
I think, I mean, he grew up in the church. He was a reverend himself. So I definitely think that played a big role because, God, he was a peaceful man, okay?
Right.
And he just like kind of, I feel like with Martin Luther King, he was very peaceful. Even when people like was hating on him, violent towards him, he still walked with, uh, he still walked in the room with not throwing no blows at nobody, not trying to hit nobody. He had faith, and I feel like he just knew God got him. There's
Right.
times where you can just be like, dang, like I want to do this, I want to punch this person, I want to do this, I want to act out. But you gotta remind yourself that God got me. Like I don't need to do this. God is gonna handle that. And I think God handled that for him. God showed him
Right.
done and showed him like you were obedient, you were peaceful, you had your faith in his all his hard work and all his obedience paid off. And I do think religious beliefs still play a role in activism today. There's people in other countries fighting for their religious beliefs and, you know, trying to protect their religion. Well, I think
Right.
it's a big part of activism. Um, Elijah, what do you think?
Um, yeah, like what you said, like I feel like a big part of what he was doing was trying to keep the peace,
Mm,
and so he was trying to keep the peace, and highlight the faith of God and everything. He was trying to like represent that as like this whole thing, and he just want everybody to be at peace and in harmony.
exactly. Excuse me. All right, so that brings us to the next question. What do you what do you believe you can do to promote equality and justice in your neighborhood? Um, I think we could do a lot. Like I feel like our neighborhoods are doing a lot right now. They have protests, they have marches, and with the equality part, they are like I don't know. I feel like our community does a lot to bring people together, and I don't know, so that there's no difference between black and white. Like even with the basketball tournaments, I see some white people there, some black people there, some everybody from different cultures all in one place. Um, what do I believe I can do? Just be educated. I feel like education is the number one key. If you're smart, like no one can play with you. So you can do anything to promote equality and talk to your local officials. Reach out. You never know, because some local, if you know one local official, you can make it to the next local official, and you could probably shoot. You can write the mayor. You can write the governor. There's so many things you could do to promote equality and justice. You can start your own organization or throw an event just to make sure everyone's together. What do you think, Elijah?
I do too. Like I feel like you know. Like though like I see people be having like block parties, everyone coming together with like a big cookout, everyone's smiling and everyone's listening to like good music from back in the day. I feel like that's what upbrings the neighborhood and keep everyone smiling.
Exactly. And also, like, even it doesn't have to just be in your neighborhood. Like, it could be your school community. So start a club, make an like at my school. I help plan the Juneteenth organization, and I have a club called Unity Club, and we plan cultural events. So we can bring everyone together. Especially if you go to a predominantly white institution and they're not doing it. If you feel like your culture is not represented, stand up, tell them like, hey, I do not feel represented here, and I want to change that. I know like I have the ability to create a club, and I'm pretty sure I hope everybody has the ability to create a club.
Right.
So do what you can and put your foot down because that's what MLK will want you to do. Okay. So
Yep.
Now, I'm going to move on to the last question of today, and that is, what do you think is the most important lesson that we can learn from Dr. King's life and legacy? Elijah, what you think?
Um, the important thing is to stop, like if you have a dream or if you have something that you've been wanting to do, just like him, how he had a dream and he actually made his dream possible, and like he made his dream so real that you can get the inspiration that he made his dream real, and you can also do it too, and you have to keep on going. What about you, Jasmine?
I think the most important one is just to stand in what you believe in, like stand up for what you believe in.
Right.
Um, he never folded. He never backed down. He was 10 toes behind his people. So I feel like that's all you can do. You if you believe in something and you think it's right, you better fight for it. And it's like,
Right.
and another important thing, you do not always have to fight violence with violence. And I think our community needs to learn that. And not everything needs to just be like a physical battle. And things can be changed peacefully. And if they could do it back then, we could do it now. So we just have to keep going and keep on fighting for what we believe in. And I think that's more important now than ever because certain changes have been made and we got to do what we got to do.
Right.
So it's MLK Day. That's the real important day today, January 20th, 2025. I hope everyone knows that on the Chop It Up podcast. And yeah, thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed every moment of it because I enjoy talking about MLK every day of the year.
Well,
So yes, bye from me and Elijah and the whole Chop It
bye
Up family.
guys.